place to be. Welcome to the Set Apart Podcast. You know who we are. If not, hopefully you know how to read. So we just gonna get into the icebreaker. Not too long ago, we celebrated something that I think is turning into an American holiday, which is called the Super Bowl Sunday. Of course, we know the outcome to that, but we're gonna back it up a little bit. We were just talking off camera about how Usher had a good performance. He did great. But Didi, here we go. We're gonna name two people. Who are two people whom has not performed at the Super Bowl who you would like to see perform at a Super Bowl halftime show? I'll give you some time. We'll go back and forth. I think I would like to say, to me, I like a smorgasbord of collective artists. But if I had to kind of put it in like a genre, I would have similar to like what Dr. Dre did, because you know how Dr. Dre had Snoop Dogg, he had 50 Cent, he had all these Eminem, Mary J. Blige, all these people come out. I would say if we could embody like an early 2000s pop scene, I think that would do well.
You need to be more specific.
Like you know what I mean? Like, what if you had like a NSYNC, Backstreet Boys?
No.
All of them. All of them. And the only reason why I say that is because they not only had like the music and hits in the early 2000s, but they was also out there dancing. Like they was out there doing whatever, they just tearing up my heart.
But only two of those groups had enough to make that happen.
And that's why you got to put a whole bunch in there, because they not singing the whole genre.
But those are the only two groups that could do it. I don't want to see 98 Degrees. I don't want to see Old Town.
I can't even remember what song.
That's what I'm saying. They were all trying to do the same thing at the same time.
I know, and they could just all get in, do 1-2 songs, bam, we up.
Ain't enough.
Somebody can get the knives out of Britney Spears' hands and say, "Hey, come on, we just need you."
We don't want to see her either. No.
Stop tripping for one day. And
there's not enough there. Sometimes I think too much is too much. Like less is more.
Okay.
Because if you just did a bunch of groups, I think that's just too much happening. The halftime is only like 11 minutes, 10 minutes, 12 minutes, something like that. And I think that's too much.
There's people in that era that I feel like you don't classify as that era because they kept having good like careers. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I feel like if NSYNC alone did it, you can do all of Justin Timberlake's.
You could do NSYNC.
You could, yeah, you're right.
That's what I'm saying. Less is more. If you said the 90s pop scene, and that's why I said you got to be specific, because everybody didn't have nothing that we don't want to hear that. They probably had one song. The only two groups that could do a show would be NSYNC and Backstreet Boys. If you're talking about boy band, late 90s.
I'm talking about the whole era. I'm talking about the Christina Aguileras, the Pinks.
I don't want to see all that together. I don't.
You don't?
That's too much.
But I need to dance. That's what it is. And plus, Justin Timberlake, we know he ain't gonna be invited back to the Super Bowl, because when Janet Jackson headlined, he ain't been back since.
She ain't gonna be invited back. He got invited back probably.
Okay. I like that.
She got banned.
And then the second one, I don't know if he did one or not, because I don't know if it was Beyonce. I think it was Beyonce and he was just there.
Who? Bruno
Mars.
They did it together, and then with Chris Martin from Coldplay. That's one of the top 5, in my opinion, performances of a Super Bowl halftime.
Oh, without a doubt. Yeah, without a doubt. Like, but
now
he was a headliner, or did he just show up?
They were all together.
Oh, they were all together. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Man. But Silk Sonic could do it.
Yeah.
They could do a halftime show.
Yeah.
And they would put on the actual show. Because I don't think it's about songs and hits. It's also about who is creative enough to put on an actual show. Like what Usher did. We know he got the hits. We know he can dance. We know he can sing. But he was creative enough to give us like 5 different costume changes. He had the skates, he had the features, he was on the field, he put on an actual show.
Right. That was good.
I
Like,
don't just want to hear hits.
Yeah. And so I heard rumor on the street is that Jay-Z is now over that division of the NFL, working with the NFL to secure all of the halftime show headliners, participants, or whatever. But here, the hard part about that is that, like you said, it has to be performance meets music. It can't just be like somebody who's really good at music and they're gonna sit there on the stage and sing on a chair. Like,
exactly.
That would be a
That's why it's a hard question to answer, because you got to have somebody that's actually entertaining.
So who, if you could think of one, who would that be? Who would
They've
you
already
like?
gone. Everybody already is. Oh, the list is. They've already
think
gone
it's
through.
done?
That's why I said it could be Silk Sonic. I think. I mean, who else? Like, this is Super Bowl. I'm not saying it's not even about being my favorite artist or not.
Right.
It's Super Bowl halftime.
Mm-hmm.
You got all ages, all races, all tastes. So it has to be somebody that's popular enough and good and creative enough to put on an entertaining show.
Do you think Outkast could do it?
A whole halftime show, they could have. Now that ain't gonna happen.
You don't think they could do a whole halftime show?
This is what should happen, to be honest with you, to answer your question. Next year they say it's in New Orleans.
Right.
I know people from New Orleans of all races. Men, women, rich, poor, less rich. They all love pre-streaming megastars. And I say pre-streaming because I can't judge music off of what it is now.
Right.
They all, if they could do a no limit halftime show in New Orleans, everybody in that arena, in that stadium, would know it. If they could do a Cash Money
would tear it up, I think.
In a no limit show, it would be just like the Dr. Dre thing. Because the thing is, Dr. Dre is not an entertainer, he's a producer.
Right.
So he knew some of his hits, who to have on stage with him. Same thing with No Limit Cash Money. All you need to hear is the intro to that beat. It's over.
Yeah.
That's it.
Of course.
That's it.
Okay. I can
11 minutes of intros. Manny Fresh.
I would think that, like, okay, so here's the thing. This is the problem that I have with that. This is the only one problem, is because I know where I'm from. I know what I like. I know the areas that I was, like, around when that stuff was coming out. We really enjoyed it. But I don't know. Did that make its way to suburbia? Did that make its way to
in New Orleans? Yes. Because again, this is pre-streaming. This is when you had to listen to the radio and you had to watch the music videos. You had to watch all of those shows. And then if your favorite artist was on a late night TV show, there was no access other than I got to go where they at. Now I'm bringing them where I'm going. So you got to think about the college scene at that time. That's how music got popular.
Yeah.
They was doing college shows. You had to get the CD. You was playing it at your party. All of those things. You had to go wherever the artist was. And that's why those guys got so rich so fast.
Yeah.
Out the trunk of their car.
Okay.
But if it's local like that, that's who gonna be in the stands. Because I saw so many people going crazy over all the people that Usher brought out that are from Atlanta.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. For sure.
Because it's like a pride thing.
But he also had so much of a fan base in Las Vegas because he just got done with his residency. So he had
but those aren't residents. Those aren't Las Vegas residents in the stadium, though.
Oh, of course. Without a doubt. Like, that's top dollar.
He just had momentum, yes. Dollar. But that was, yeah.
That makes more sense. Top dollar.
Just my thought.
I mean, but that's good. I mean, for y'all who is viewers, listeners, whatever, find the comment section, put in there. Who do you think should be that Super Bowl halftime performance for the ages? I mean, there's a lot of people who is now passed away that I'm
That's
like,
what I'm
man,
saying. Come and
wow,
gone.
man, that would have been special. Man, that would have been special. But that's just probably our old souls mourning stuff. So we're gonna pivot a little bit to just the topic in general. There is I would call it epidemic in modern day media today, which is, I think it really took off. If I was to say this, or if I can kind of pinpoint it, the late 90s, with the Real World and all this other stuff, reality TV in its general, right? Now, reality TV is now a genre of its own. What people don't know about Hollywood, that is, reality is not that reality. Like it's not that much
It's not the
reality.
same.
Like
Yeah.
it's not like people like, oh, this person was on this and this and this stuff. Don't think for a second that people are not behind those cameras, somewhat controlling that brand. Like it's not just free for all, just turn on the
Mm-hmm.
camera and it happens. It has to be some type of um, organization for the chaos. But in this world today, we are fully blown into 2024, and we have reality shows. And there's a reality show that actually sparked this conversation that we're having today. And I have not seen one episode of it. I'm just going to be honest. So the people who are fans of it, it is amazing, but I understand the premise of it. Just like I talk to my friends all the time, especially my Caucasian friends. I love y'all. And they're like, oh, you've never seen an episode of The Office? I'm like, no, I have not. But I can tell you exactly what The Office is about. Why? Because it's so popular that I understand the premise. So there's a reality show called The Ultimatum. Have you ever heard of it, Didi?
I've heard of it. Yes.
Okay. And so The Ultimatum, now correct me if I'm wrong for what you know or what
I
your
think I
knowledge.
watched the first season.
Okay, you watched the first season, so you know.
Yeah.
So I believe that they start dating people, right?
No,
Um, they don't start dating people.
they come in already in a relationship.
They come, oh, there it is. They come in already in a relationship. Then they start seeing other people. And then at the end, they decide whether
No.
they want to stay or go.
Yes, but no. No.
Okay, tell me what it is. What's the premise of it?
So it's called ultimatum because couples are coming in and one of the pair is wanting to be married, but the other person is hesitant for whatever reason. So they bring them
Mm,
on the show to say, like, we either gonna get engaged or I'm out. So what they do is, the reason they bring other singles, well, they kind of just mix the couples together to be like, okay, well, technically you're on a break. You're giving this person permission to date someone else they might like that's here also,
mm,
to make it see like maybe you losing me will make you understand or make you
what's
want
that?
to have a little more urgency. Yes, that's what happens. So then at the end of it, they decide, I do want to move forward, and all the, all the little different challenges they have in between, or I want to go with this new person. I've developed feelings for them, or I'm leaving single. That's
Mm.
kind of what the ultimatum is.
So to me, like, even though I'm not a huge fan of what I would call that trash TV. I'm not a huge fan of trash TV, but to me, like, just that premise in general is perfect. You know why? Because it's real to what people do today. I've been in relationships, I've seen relationships, and they give each other ultimatums, not in the same premise of you can date somebody, figure out what you have, but it's like, hey, if this don't happen, then this ain't happening. Now, I've been in relationships that the ultimatum was never really based on whether the relationship would end or not. I think that's too simple. That's too easy. Because then um, if you tell me that, then I'm like, ah, then I think you made the decision for me. But let me give you a situation right here, and I won't say any names because I ain't trying to shout nobody out like that and put they laundry out in here. So I got a friend, really close person, and they currently have kids, and they are living with their, not a believer, living with their now fiance. The son is about 16, 17, so about to be like graduating high school age. And they were hit with the ultimatum of, if like dude direct, if he don't move out, then this is just over. If your son don't move out,
Mm-hmm.
then this is just you. It's wraps. Like I don't want nothing to do with it, right? And I slowly think about like all the ultimatums that was given. Now, before I tell you the conclusion of this story, just the audacity, the gumption to give an ultimatum that involves my kid. I don't even got kids out here. Okay. Like I ain't got kids out here and I'm feeling the way that I'm feeling. An ultimatum that involves my kid. Like, that's crazy. What would you do if you were in a situation like that, where the ultimatum was given with your kid on the line? Not the relationship, your kid.
Your kid on the line.
I mean, that sounds crazy to me.
Okay, so I need you to break this down one more time.
Okay.
So the kid got what?
So the kid
gotta go.
He acted up. So the kid got to go. He got to move out. You got to figure out somewhere else.
Wait, okay. How old is, so this is a kid? How old is this kid?
This kid is about 16, 17.
So somebody that I'm not married to.
You engaged to. You're not married to.
I can't picture that. I'm so sorry. I just don't, that's hard for me to answer. And I'll tell you why. I just don't see this situation happening in my life. Because if if I'm engaged to someone, there are going to be some conversations way before it got to this point about child rearing.
Yeah.
Because if it's to the point where it's an ultimatum, that means conversations have happened over and over and there's no resolution. Because number one, any man that's with me, he's also accepted that my son is a part of me and is going to be a part of him. So if you can't put your son out, then you can't say my son got to go, because he's our son.
Yeah.
So I don't see that playing out that way. I don't know what I would do, because that would be so far. I don't think I would get to that point, to be honest.
So let's back it up a little bit then, because the whole idea of an ultimatum, and this is what it sounds like to me, is, I don't know, when you get to ultimatums, like, I understand and I can acknowledge that it probably wasn't the first. It probably wasn't the first time you guys kind of had that conversation, or a conversation
about him acting up, right?
Yeah,
okay.
About it happening up in general. But I see, and you can let me know if this is the man part of me or not, or if I'm just tripping. I can be crazy. I'm okay with being wrong. I often compare ultimatums to a form, and this sounds dramatic, of terrorism. Like, seriously, like if you give me an ultimatum, and let's say whatever it is, and I kind of concede to that, say, hey, okay, like, you know what, you're right, I'm gonna do it, right? To me, I can't help but think, what keeps you from doing that again? What keeps you from a different situation holding something over my head to say it's either this or that? I was in a previous relationship where I don't know if she has learned this from maybe relationships that she's seen, or maybe trash TV. I have to believe it plays a part in people's psyche. But it got to the point where that the same thing did happen. I gave in to the ultimatum. Okay, yeah, okay, cool. And then the second time, I was like, you know what? I'm just trying to keep the peace. Third time, you know what? All right, I got now. I realize that at every single junction, there's another freaking ultimatum to where what's going on? This is terrorism. So am I tripping to think that, or
I don't. It's not. It's just manipulation. It's just narcissistic behavior. It's manipulation. My thing is this: I have never been given an ultimatum, so I don't know that life.
okay?
Honestly,
Have you ever given an ultimatum?
I can't think of a time.
Okay.
Because I come from, and I'm not trying to make it seem like I'm just this amazing person, but I don't feel like I should have to work that hard to agree with somebody. I won't even call it work. Let me rephrase that. If somebody doesn't want to, let's say somebody doesn't want to be with me anymore.
Okay.
That's my answer. Okay. Because and I could be feeling real low about myself, but one thing I know is that I'm quality enough that you shouldn't still be figuring out if you want to stay here or not.
Okay.
And I feel that way about people I care about too. If it takes all of that, then what are we doing?
Okay.
And my other thought is, what is an ultimatum always like do or die? Like what are the nature of these ultimatums? Because you said something about I'm just gonna keep the peace, which I don't agree with, because there was no peace.
Right.
You just
There
wanted
was
to
no
keep, you just wanted to keep the quiet. That's not the same.
Right.
And the people use that a lot. And I'm like, you didn't keep peace because you just wanted her to stop talking. That's not keeping the peace.
Right. I mean, but sometimes, and to speak, and men definitely, I want to say, struggle with this or give into this a lot. I'm not saying that women don't, but I'm saying I know that men do this a lot. And it's like, hey, you know what? Just for me not to be in this argument, whatever you say.
That's what
Even
I'm
if
saying.
you not believe it.
But that's my point. That is not keeping the peace. That is just avoiding the issue. Because this is why I say that. A lot of people say, oh, I'm just going to keep the peace. You're not keeping the peace. If it's unresolved, it's not going away. That's not peace. That's just delaying an explosion. To me, keeping the peace and is not synonymous with quiet. That is not, I need all of us to stop thinking that, because all you're doing is delaying an explosion. If you want to keep the peace, you can have a confrontation without it being an explosion. You can confront an issue. You can have a discussion. That is keeping the peace, because you saying, well, whatever you want, to me, that's lazy.
It is. Oh, but is it lazy if, okay, now granted, I can sit up here and put so many toxic things into the situation, right? Which I'm not, because that kind of makes it an unfair scenario. But to me, a lot of times, well, let me just say, in my experience, I'm not going to speak for generally, but in my experience, the keeping the peace happens after multiple of what I felt like was unneeded conflict. Like, this doesn't lead to something. This just leads to it doesn't lead anywhere. Like to me, like sometimes, like good conflict, good healthy conflict to me is us having conversations, maybe us not thinking about like it from the same point of view, or maybe us not necessarily agreeing on something like that. But when we get to the end of that road, there's some type of good in it. Like, maybe I understand you better, maybe you understand me better. Like, something happens as a result of this. I'm talking about fighting that is just fighting. I'm talking, it has no rhyme or reason. Like, it's just emotions throwing. It's a paintball war with emotions. Like, so when you get to that point that you are so tired of that roundabout, that is when I'm just gonna say, okay, whatever you want, to not have this moment. So what would you even say to that?
That's the same thing. You just want to stop talking. That's not keeping the peace. You know why? How you gonna keep something you ain't have? People say keeping the peace because it sounds profound. No, that's lazy. Because you can resolve if it's that emotional, like you said, paintball, war, whatever that is happening. You can just stop a conversation. You can walk away. You can say, without sounding like you somebody daddy, like, look, don't say this isn't getting anywhere, because that's condescending. You can say, I'm having a hard time expressing what I gotta say because I'm upset. I just need a few minutes. You know what I'm saying? Because the issue never got resolved. So there is no peace. You have to get peace to keep it. Yeah. But if it's just arguing and emotions, that's going to happen. So I don't know why people think they can avoid that. That's going to happen. It's how you get out of that and say, I'm just going to keep it. And you sitting here like this. All right, you know what? You're right. You lying.
Yes.
And that does not solve anything. You know what that does? You know what that does? I'm more pissed. Okay. That's like, let me give you an example. Someone in my family, I ain't gonna say their relation to me because they gonna know exactly who I'm talking about. Somebody in my family does this and it grinds my gears.
Okay.
This person might bring up something and we could just be chilling or whatever. And then if they're wrong, and you're like, actually, no, it didn't happen like that. And they say, yes, it did. So whatever the reason is that you're going back and forth. They started it because they brought it up. They brought up the topic. Okay. They don't like when you engage back with them. So then they just say, okay, okay. I said, okay. I'm like, you can't just end the conversation that you started by saying, okay, because now it looks like you, the agitator, and they're the one sitting back like, okay. Okay, I said, okay. No, you just saying stop talking. You're not saying, okay.
Yeah.
You're saying stop talking. But you lit this fire. So now you got everybody else looking like they're attacking you because you saying, okay. And you're not saying all the stuff you said. So that's not, now nobody want to talk to you at Thanksgiving because you irritating because you do that passive aggressive, okay, or all right, whatever you say. It's not whatever you say because now you're mad at me and you're not talking because you said whatever you say against your will. You just said it because you don't want to talk anymore. So now not only are my feelings not important enough to work through, yours aren't either because you just swallowed them up. And then you're going to blame me later saying that's why I can't talk to you. And then you're going to say, I don't have a safe place here. I don't feel safe to share my feelings. No, you just don't feel like going there with your feelings because it took too long. Yeah. And you start saying whatever you say. That's why I say it's lazy. Because when you married, there's no like, all right, I got 30 minutes. And if we don't get to the resolution in 30 minutes, you said forever. Mm-hmm. So it would behoove you to resolve this peacefully instead of saying whatever you say. That's not a resolution.
Right.
That's a cop-out.
You're right.
But if you love her, you're like, look, I'm not understanding right. I'm not getting it. And you have to be okay with, I don't fully understand, but I can see why you would feel that way. If I was you, I could see how I can kind of get that. I just don't feel that way.
Okay.
I don't agree.
Here's the question I have for you then. In terms of, and I'm sorry to, because what you're saying makes sense, but to wrap it back, earlier you said that it depends on what type of ultimatum you're getting. Is there ever an ultimatum that is a good one? Any scenario?
I've never been given an ultimatum other than if you don't pick these performances up, you'll be in trouble at work or something. I've never been given an ultimatum. Like,
So you've never, I mean, because ultimatums is everywhere. Even when and sorry if I'm revealing that I was this kid, but I was this kid. But it was like, hey, if you don't get this grade up, we talking about your eligibility being on the line. Like, you know what I mean? Like that was an ultimatum. It's so many things. Some people and just and this is a question for you as well. Some people use ultimatums in parenting, like often
That's just a threat.
To the point where now the child, what you don't understand is that yeah, maybe you had some type of control through that, but now to the point where the child thinks that that is the way that they in sense get control in their life by using ultimatums when they grow up. So I mean, is there ever a good time? Is there ever a scenario? Is there ever a time where ultimatums is good?
I think we need to, I don't know, because that's different. If you saying like, if you don't get your eligibility up, you can't play, that's like a contractual agreement where you knew there was terms and conditions.
Right.
That's why I said it's ultimatums and then there's manipulation.
Where's the line? That's the ultimate question.
The line is when it's personal. If you don't do this for me, I'm doing this to you.
Okay. Vengeance.
I mean, I don't live in ultimatum land. I really don't know. All I know is, why don't you give an example? You said you've been in these things. I don't know.
I can't, and I mean the answer to my own question, like I can't think of a scenario where ultimatum.
You shouldn't have to live in ultimatum land. That's I don't
Right.
know that. So I don't know that that's, I think it's really manipulation. And that's when, if you have to do all of that, then I'm probably not that connected to you, because usually if, whether it's a friendship, a working relationship, a business partnership, a romantic relationship, like I'm usually not in the ones that I feel like are one-sided very long. Where it has to get to the point where if you really need me to do something for you that you feel like that's how to get it, I don't think we knew each other, because I don't engage in those kinds of relationships. Does that make sense? Like,
yeah, no,
if you feel like you got to threaten me to get something from me, I just don't have that in my life.
Yeah. I would say the same thing in the sense of if we're at the point where ultimatums is even happening, or it's especially if it's happening on a regular, like it's already dead. Whatever it is already done and
That's
dead.
what I'm saying. When you gave the example, like the first time, it was like, oh, okay. Like, what is example where it was acceptable for you?
Like an ultimatum was acceptable for me?
Yeah, because you said like, okay, the first time you was like, all right. The second time you was like, and after that, it was like, okay, I'm just gonna keep the peace. Whatever. What is it like if?
So, for example, like a lot of times it was, people that we hang out with, like, you know what I mean? Like, and it's hard when the people who your significant other don't want to hang out with is the people who you are related to. You know what I mean? Like,
so
nah, I'm not trying to go over there for your mom's birthday. If we go over there for your mom's birthday, such and such and such and such and such, right? Like, all right, I'll go without you. No, because if you leave me, then such and such and such and such.
Okay, that's just manipulation.
And so, like, to me, like I have only seen, even if it's for a good cause, like let's say you try to manipulate for a good cause, quote unquote. I've never seen the long term of giving an ultimatum work. I've never seen it work. Either it was manipulation from the beginning, or you got something. Let's say we got a good result out of it, but then it just hurt the relationship so much more because now you would do this to me. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
that's what I'm saying. That's why, okay, so if you go back to the show, of course it's a show. And of course we only see a limited amount of time. We don't know all the other conversations that probably weren't as toxic that maybe happened. But the premise of the show is, I want to get married. They're still hesitant. So using manipulation, jealousy factor to try to get them to see, you know, what you might be missing out on, or maybe you never really wanted to marry me and I actually found what I was looking for in someone else. I don't know how and whatever. Anyway, we're not gonna go there.
Yeah.
But it's the same thing. Like, okay, so you had to tell a man or convince a man to marry you. And you want us to cheer for that. That's why I say for me, like, I'm not begging anybody to do I'm not begging anybody to stay with me if they've decided they don't want to.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. If I have to convince you, then it's me, not you.
Yeah.
I gotta talk you into staying. No, that your homeboy needs to talk you into staying, not me. Because you've seen what I had to offer. You've seen who I am. And if that's not what you want, I accept that. You know what I'm saying? It may hurt, but I'm not finna say, if you don't stay here, if you don't do this, I don't do that. Mm-hmm. Because all I'm gonna do, like you said, for the rest of it might last 2 more weeks. I'm be like, what am I gonna have to come up with next time he getting jumpy? So I can't do that because I kind of love me. And I know the work that I've done for me, on me, and the processes I've been through, that if you leave this, I'm so sorry for you. I really am. And I'm so sorry for them that did. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry to y'all. I'm so sorry. I feel bad for y'all. Because this version is way better than the one you thought. So we talking about ultimatums for relationship's sake. If you threaten, oh, my son got to get out, I don't think that's going to be a problem for me. I'm just sorry. Mm-hmm. Because that's going to be his son too at that point.
Okay. That's real. I mean, I could even, when we get to me, it seems clear cut until that moment. Like, to me, like, oh, when you start involving kids, it's like, like, I don't even got a kid. I'm like, man, I don't ever see a scenario where I'm not taking the kid side. Like I know I
disagree with that. I disagree with that.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah. And a lot of people that don't have kids probably would answer like you.
Of course. Yeah. I don't have kids. And of course, the scenario that I referred to earlier, of course, they didn't have the kid together. So
yeah, still.
Yeah.
Still. I'm just saying, if that's the scenario, if that's the context, if I'm engaged to someone and he already has a relationship with my son, that is his son, or I'm not engaged to you.
Right. Okay.
You know what I'm saying? But in a different context, I'm not a choose my kid over my spouse person. Okay. I'm not. Now, it may not be biologically his, but the way I do stuff, that is going to be growing into his son. So there is no separation.
Right.
So that's why I said I can't picture that ever being a topic of conversation. If we putting somebody out, we putting somebody out. Not your son gotta go. No, we had some conversations. Look, this is the plan. At dinner, we having this conversation with him. If he don't do this, we are putting you out. It's not your husband put me out. No. That's your dad.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I don't do the whole like my kids first. Not me.
Okay.
When I'm married. No.
I see that. That's some wisdom right there. Because it's like, I guess I'm thinking in terms of the war of like, you just sat up there and you drew a line in the sand. No. You just drew a line in the sand that divided.
I don't move like that. There's no line in the sand. If you're somebody that asked me to marry you, that is your son.
Yeah.
If I say yes to your proposal, that means I feel like that boy belongs to you and you treat him as such. So we gonna put him out.
Okay.
The ultimatum is me and your dad had a conversation, so I need you to hurry up and come home.
Exactly.
Have this dinner so we can. Yeah, it's that. Yeah. There is no like my son and your son. Same vice versa. If he has children,
right?
What we gonna do about our kids? There, at this point, we united front. It's us against them.
Right.
Real talk. Like if you 17 years old acting up in our house, we going to remove you from this house. It ain't gonna be, well, mom, no. What your daddy say?
Yeah.
I'm just here so you don't throw no plates. Y'all go ahead and have that conversation man to man. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna be upstairs.
Yeah.
Because I don't like seeing when the men be disciplined. I'm like, handle your business, but I'm not gonna watch though.
Right.
I'm gonna go.
I'm out.
Yeah. That's the line for me.
Okay.
That might not be popular, but I could care less.
Nah, that's respectful and clear. Y'all let us know what y'all think in the comments. Is Ultimatum's good? Have you ever seen in this whole great world of history, have you ever seen a situation where Ultimatum has led to some good results at all? Let us know what y'all think about trash TV too, because I know y'all be watching it. It's a guilty pleasure, but y'all be loving it. So this has been a Set Apart podcast. I'm Ren. This is the Immaculate Didi. Didi, say peace out to the people.
Peace out to the people.
Hey, this is your girl Didi from Set Apart with Ren and Didi. Thank you so much for tuning in to this latest installment. Don't forget to subscribe to wherever you listen to podcasts.